time I read her words, I'm like literally in a blanket, warmed and cozy. Don't waste time on things you don't like and do what you want to do and live your dream. You know, everyone's like, oh my god, Emily is kind of toxic, but it was beautiful at the same time. All right, let's get comfortable because it's gonna be a long video. Hi guys, welcome to the first video of 2024. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing you guys my top books of 2023, recommendations from me. These are the books you guys should go lean towards because I swear by these books. How about we start off? These were the only 2 infinity stars I ever gave a book before. The first one we're gonna be talking about is 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I swear by this book. I love this book. I cried in this book. The quotes in this book is amazing, and the love of this book is amazing. This book is basically about this main character named Clementine. So her aunt died, and her aunt was like the love of her life. Like, her aunt was everything to her. And so she decided to go to New York, have her aunt's apartment, and her aunt was always this carefree, loving person. And literally, her aunt gives me Sagittarius vibes because Sagittarius are like the life of the party, and they're always positive. I don't know how they're always positive. I don't understand. And they're just free-spirited, and I love that. Her aunt always said to Clementine that this apartment is magical, and one day when she was like doing her normal little life, she came back to her apartment and a strange man came into her apartment, and she was like, who are you? Why are you in my apartment? And he was like, I'm Iwan, and your aunt let me live here. She's like, no, my aunt is like not alive anymore, and you need to get out of my apartment. Slowly realized that, then she looked at the calendar and it was 7 years in the past, and then she was living 7 years in the future, which is so crazy. And I usually get confused by time travel love stories, but this one was amazing. I got into it, fell in love with it every step of the way. And then after all, love is never a matter of time but a matter of timing. Then you just go through their love story going back in the past and the present. Slowly started to get to know each other, and that's how their little love story unfolds, and it's just so beautiful. And active service and words of affirmation is there if you want to escape and have like a magical little romance. 7 Year Slip is the way to go. And I love Ashley Poston's writing. If there's any other author that has similar writing to Ashley Poston's, let me know. The next book that I gave Infinity Stars is Divine Rivals, and Rowan, he's literally, oh my god, the ultimate book boyfriend there. Like, literally, he is amazing. And this book made me cry. Rebecca Ross knows how to do her writing, and she knows how to do it good. This one is Academic Rivals, a little bit enemies to lovers. Roman and Iris, they're both like journalists, and they're trying to get the same position, but Iris is like part of like the poor class, and Roman is part of the rich class. Iris did lose her brother and her mother, so she doesn't really have anyone. This is not really modern time. It's kind of a little bit back in the day. They're using typewriters, and she got her typewriter from her grandmother, and supposedly that typewriter is very magical, and she did not know Roman also has the same typewriter. She used that typewriter to basically make a diary entry to give to her brother Forrest, who is not alive at the time. She then put it under her wardrobe, and she didn't know where they went to. She didn't think nothing of it until one day the wardrobe gave a paper back to her, and it wasn't her writing, it was Roman's writing. And this is not spoilers, this is all in the back of the book. She's trying to figure out who this is. She's like, it's not my brother. I know it's not my brother Forrest. It has to be someone else. But you just know that it's Roman, and Roman knows it's Iris right away by the writing that it's not Roman's, because he doesn't want to ruin that little connection that they had, because in real life they don't like each other. A little romance, and you have the war going on at the same time. The war is basically about these two gods, Enva and Darcy. I really don't know how to pronounce his name, but Enva is part of like the upper world. Like, her power is like music. Doris's little power is healing, and basically in the underworld. But yeah, that is all I'm gonna say about that book. It was beautiful. The quotes were there. The words of affirmation. Roman and Iris are it. The second book came out in December 26th, 2023, and you know I got my hands on it, and I got the Barnes & Noble's exclusive. I took the jacket off because I'm currently reading it. Look how gorgeous this is. Like, look. And it says, you may not be a goddess, but nor am I a god. Despite our mundane lives, perhaps we make our own magic with words. They're both journalists, and they know how to get you with the words, because that's their job. Do such a good job with it. They make my heart whole, and they literally crush my heart at the same time. Currently on chapter 25, page 179. I already have tabs because Roman and Iris, they're just it. Roman I like being in this world. I don't want to leave this world. So the next top book that I really like in 2023 is Fourth Wing. Yeah, I know everyone loved this book, and I read it during the summer. I read it at the beach. It was like really cool reading a fantasy at the beach. Usually people read like romance, like beach reads, like, you know, looks, but I read a fantasy about dragons. Becca Yados, she even recommended if you want to get into fantasy, read Fourth Wing, because it's like a really good book to start off with. Kind of a little overwhelmed reading that book because it was a lot. This was my first fantasy ever in my reading history, and I was scared. Basically, Fourth Wing is about this girl named Violet. She was supposed to enter this scribes quadrant. They like to write books, they read books. Writers, that's their little thing. And then you have the writer quadrant, and you basically ride dragons. Where do you think Violet's gonna go? She wants to be in a safer option, which is the scribe, because she is made for the books. Anything in the book world, Violet is there. She got it from her dad, but her dad is not really in her life anymore, so she kind of has to follow her mom's footsteps, and her mom is like one of the headmasters in the school. I'm pretty sure there's like a different term. Her mom was like, no, you're not gonna be a scribe because your brother, your sister were writers, and you're gonna be a writer. So she obviously has to follow her mother. So you're just going with Violet and her journey being a writer, and she's not fit to be a writer. You meet people along the way, and you meet like the love interests. It has like aspects of Harry Potter, Divergent, and Hunger Games. I love Harry Potter and Hunger Games, so I was like, okay, this book is gonna be it, because those were like my childhood like movies slash books. A little bit spicy. The book ends off with a cliffhanger, and then the next book, When in Rome, it is a small town romance, and it was so cute. I love rom-coms. Sarah Adams, her books make me love rom-coms. It's like a great palate cleanser. So When in Rome is about Amelia Rose, or known as Ray Rose. She is a pop star, and she got inspired by her favorite Audrey Hepburn film, Roman Holiday. She drives off in the middle of the night for a break in Rome. Not Rome, Italy, but Rome, Kentucky. But when I heard it was an Audrey Hepburn expired, and if you mention Audrey Hepburn, I'm in. And I love Audrey Hepburn, like, and I inspired to be Audrey Hepburn, like how she handles herself with grace, classy, elegance. When she arrives to Rome, Kentucky, her car breaks down in front of Noah Walker's yard, and Noah's like, he's the grumpiest guy. He's a baker. He knows how to cook little pies and little pastries. Noah was like, you could just stay at my house or whatever until your car is ready, but then you already know where that's gonna go. It was so cute. I love the book. 5 out of 5 stars. And she made a second book. They're both kind of like standalones, but they're interconnected some way. And the second book is Practice Makes Perfect. It's about Noah's sister. The love interest of Noah's sister is Amelia's bodyguard. So you have like this sweet little innocent girl and this tattooed bodyguard. Annie Walker, she never really was like the dateable person. She's very shy, she's very anxious, she has anxiety. She's like a little homebody. She can't put herself out there. That's why Will comes in to push her out of the comfort zone to make Annie dateable. I liked it, and that's all that matters. I gave that one 4 stars. It didn't make me cry. Still in the little small town little romance, you still get a glimpse of Amelia and Noah Walker in that book. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Manolia Parks. Manolia Parks was 5 out of 5 stars also, but this one's a different one. This one's like not your usual like happy little ending. I think they're really realistic endings. They're like really what really kind of happens in real life. This book is basically about, if you really like the TV show Gossip Girl, you're gonna like this series. Rich British people drama, and it's very toxic. Basically going along with Manolia and PJ and their love story. They're kind of grown, but they're kind of immature at the same time, especially PJ, but he is also a sweetheart at the same time. They're literally the it couple in their little world, and this book has the best quotes out there. I wasn't expecting to find any of these quotes, but Jessa Hastings know how to get you. Literally, I was like crying with this book, and I was like, oh my god, I never like viewed love as how Jessa Hastings was writing it to be. Like, I really learned a little bit more about love and life, and like this book was the first book I ever like tabbed and underlined and highlighted throughout the whole book. Like every page I had to underline it because the quote was there. You know, everyone's like, oh my god, Emily is kind of toxic, but it was beautiful at the same time. Like literally the ending, it was like, why Jessa? Why'd you have to do that? Why? Every time when you think everything's going so good and you have like a few pages, you know it's not gonna be good. you know it's not gonna be good. Let's talk about the next book, A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I love this book. If you're a Greek mythology lover like me, this book is it. Like, this book is a modern day intake on Hades and Persephone's love story, and I loved it. I know there's other books with Hades and Persephone's and other gods, but Scarlett St. Clair, she did it so wonderfully, so beautifully, and I loved it. I even cried a little bit in this book. That I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. This made me fall in love with Greek mythology because of Scarlett St. Clair, and I loved every minute of this book. Persephone is basically a goddess of spring, and she's also a journalist in New York in the modern day, and Hades is a god of the underworld, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's very, very spicy. If you're like looking for a Greek mythology books or trying to get into Greek mythology, I only recommend Scarlett St. Clair. Oh, everything about the underworld, like, I could literally envision it, see everything like if it was a movie. That's how you know the writing is good. The Touch of Darkness series, it is in Persephone's life story and her point of view, but if you really want to get into Hades' point of view, of like his little dark personality and all that stuff, and how he made the world and everything in his life story, Scarlett St. Clair made a point of view of his. If you guys are interested in that, make sure you guys read those. So the next books, this is actually a whole series. It is the Natural series, basically Criminal Minds young adult series, and I loved it. Like, none of these books 5 out of 5 stars, but they're really like high 4 stars. So you're basically going with Cassie and this little group. They each has like a little power. Cassie and Dean profile people easily and what their life is like just by looking at them, and then you have Michael. He knows how to read emotions just by looking at you of how you're feeling. Then you have Leah. She is good at lying, and she can catch people lying. And then you have Salone. She is good at numbers, statistics, and all of that. So this whole little group is good at finding serial killers, catching them before they do any more killing. It's really young adult. It's really fast paced. Literally the first book of the Naturals, I read it in a day. I literally binged that book, and I binged the series. You really get to connect with the characters. Reading the last book, I really did not want to leave the world because the world was amazing, and I really connect with the characters. I feel like they were my friends even though they're not real. The next top books was The Hunger Games. I remember the movies. I love the movies, dude. My favorite male character is Finnick. I love Finnick. I love him. It was like eye-opening. Like, literally, I think when I was younger, I did not understand most of it because I was younger, so I didn't know better. But once I got older, I understand Katniss, I understand Gale, I understand Peeta. I understand the world so much more. In 2023, I realized that I was so much more like Katniss. Like, literally, me and her are twins. Like, everything that she made of this decision throughout the whole Hunger Games series, I would have done. We had the same thinking, and I relate to her so much. Not like the whole society thing, but like her as a character and her personality. Like, she doesn't like people, she doesn't like to smile much, like she doesn't like to be forced with a lot of things. It has to be natural. That is me in person. Like, once you get to know me, I'm awkward. I only read the first 3 books. The last book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I watched the movie, but I haven't read the book. It's making a video with my reaction of that whole series. My next top book is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I really like this book. I wanted to see what his taste was like, and I wanted to know what kind of book he was gonna pick me out at Barnes & Nobles. I made like a whole video of the Under the Whispering Door life, but in a fantasy aspect to it. And he's like a grumpy old man in a business world, and he died, and you go through his world and his point of view of the little bit of the middle or the afterlife, and you meet these characters and they're funny. You're waiting for him to go through the door of like him being done with his life. I really was not interested in death, or like I did not want to read about death because that is a scary subject for me. I don't want to die. Eye-opening, because I never thought about death or life about that, and it just really teaches you that you can't not waste time. Don't waste time on things you don't like, and do what you want to do and live your dream. And that is YouTube, because I was like so scared about doing YouTube because I did not want family or people that I know from in real life to see my videos, but knowing that they support me about everything I do, and I was like, I should have done this earlier, and that's what I did, and that's why I'm here with the YouTube video, because I really wanted to do it. And you really can't take anything for granted. You always gotta be grateful for everything, because there's some people, obviously you already heard this about your parents, that there's people out there that don't have what you have, and you really gotta be grateful for that, of everything you have and the life experience that you have, the water, the food, the house that you're living in, overall people in your life. You really gotta be grateful for them, and everyone is not kidding about life is too short. If these people in my life that I don't want in my life, and if they're like breaking my peace, I need to let them go. Like, I'm only bringing people into my life who are genuine, who are supporting me. I don't need negative people. I don't live my life to the fullest because I read this book. I feel like if you're really in that little slump of life, I really recommend Under the Whispering Door, because that is it for today's video. Those are like my top picks of 2023. Yeah, so if you guys read any of these books that I mentioned in this video, comment down below what your thoughts and what you rated the books. But if you don't like any of the books, please don't tell me. Please don't tell me, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know if you don't like it. Like, I don't want to know, because I love these books so dearly. That is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you need to find me, I'm probably at Barnes & Noble's.